Would it be a Black Ops 1 video if you didn't start, in my opinion, the most iconic gaming menu of all time? Black Ops 1. It's a name that echoes through the corridors of gaming history, but somehow doesn't receive the recognition it truly deserves. Released in 2010, this game wasn't just another entry into the series. It was a monumental shift in how we experience first-person shooters. But why is Black Ops 1 often forgotten? And does it really deserve any praise? Today, we're going on a journey back to a time when the world was simpler and Call of Duty was at its peak. By the end of this video, you'll understand why Black Ops 1 remains one of the greatest games ever made. Imagine back in 2010 when you boot up this game and you just get thrown into this with the TVs, the atmosphere, the numbers, the guy in the area right there where you're like, what is that guy doing? I don't know, but I just remember being in this, looking down, going, oh my gosh, this is about to be a banger game. But was it really going to be that great? Why was this opening so mind-boggling for many of us booting up the game for the first time? Well, to understand that, let's take a couple steps backward. For many of us growing up, early November meant one thing: Call of Duty was back.
Now let's turn to the world of Call of Duty.
The first time ever making its worldwide exclusive E3 reveal right here
for Call of Duty.
Call of Duty, Call of Duty, Call of Duty.
Call of Duty, Call of Duty.
Call of Duty, Call of Duty,
Call of Duty.
But in 2010, something was off. Instead of moving forward with the modern era of shooters, Treyarch announced Call of Duty was moving backwards to the Cold War.
With Call of Duty Black Ops, we wanted to take players to an entirely new place and give them entirely new gameplay experiences, something they hadn't done yet. And as we were doing our research and learning about these secret wars and these deniable operations.
a covert, deniable black operation.
With World at War underperforming in sales compared to Call of Duty 4 and Modern Warfare 2, many expected Treyarch to respond to Infinity Ward's success with a modern FPS of their own. It makes sense, right? Why risk staging your game in the same time period as Battlefield Vietnam? So on the night before the Black Ops 1 release, many of us waited outside a GameStop, apprehensive for what was to come. But after we removed the plastic wrap, inserted the game disc, and booted up the game with no updates, by the way, you started here, strapped to the chair, auxiliary noises in the background, and a deep, menacing voice asking you questions.
You said it was Cuba. What happened in Cuba? It's up to you, Mason. It's all up to you.
For a franchise often criticized for its lack of depth, this was a staggering start that instantly piqued your interest. And I don't know about you, but what I would do always is go right into multiplayer. For me, campaign zombies came second. I was getting into multiplayer with my friends right away, off the rip. And I'm telling you what, it was special. I mean, here we are. The menu music. You already had a great menu back in the just the default menu. Now you're in the multiplayer. You're hearing this. Listen to this. I mean, if that doesn't bring back memories, I don't know what does. The multiplayer, in a word, was legendary. The multiplayer is the heart of any Call of Duty game. It cannot be overstated how important it is as a mode for the longevity and the success of the title. So when we talk about what makes a good multiplayer experience, the things I typically look at are the maps, the gunplay, and the MacGuffins. Things like perks, streaks, and camos. Black Ops 1 had it all, and it did it in a way that felt unique. And here we go. We got a fresh game too. I have not played this game in a while, but obviously that's the point of making this video. I just kind of wanted to refresh what it felt like. I really wanted to get a kill first before I died, but that's okay. It introduced iconic maps like Nuketown, Firing Range, and Summit. Maps that are still celebrated and remade to this day. Every map fit the tone and style of the Black Ops 1 universe, while also offering a variety of settings for different play styles. Dude, this game is amazing. This was a great map too. That guy just got put into last stand. That guy just got put. I forget how to make this jump. No. I'm not that bad at this game. Hold on, guys. Hold on. There it is. Yes. And you would shock the enemy so much doing that. Holy moly, I forgot about that. Obviously, I didn't forget about it because I actually just did it. But it wasn't just the maps that made it special. It was the gameplay itself. The gunplay was smooth. The kill streaks were balanced. Well, I mean, most of them were balanced. And every weapon had its own unique feel. Guns like the 74U, the Galil, the G11, the L96. The majority of these weapons had never been seen before in a first-person shooter. So the fact that we had a whole new roster of guns to use felt refreshing. And sure, in the grand scheme of things, there's only so much variety you provide to the feel of a submachine gun. But for COD enthusiasts, this was a fresh take that was desperately needed. Oh, he's... That's filthy. You know, one thing that I'll say too, actually playing this right now, is the fact that those people are actually like the same kind of vibe as the game, like the snowsuits. Like we're in a snow map and they're wearing snowsuits. I know that this is kind of a crazy thought nowadays, but now it'd be Nicki Minaj running around in this map. And it just takes you away from the feeling. It might be hard to remember now, but there was also no pay-to-win bundles. The blueprint system hadn't been introduced yet, so you didn't have to worry about paying $20 to get a gun that you could use to compete. SBMM hadn't been cranked to the moon yet either. When you loaded into Black Ops 1, it was just pure, unfiltered fun. And this is what this game had that I just really, really loved. It had something called COD points. Now, COD points, you probably have a bad thought process on those, but these back in the day were so good. So you would actually get COD points for playing a match, doing challenges, and you could go in and obviously picking, this is the AK-74U. We would pick that, and you could just buy your attachments with COD points. So rapid fire was obviously meta back in the day, but if I wanted dual mag, buy and equip. And there we go. We got dual mag. And also, as you can tell, there's only one attachment. But here's your gun stats. I mean, there's my stats with this gun. Look at that. Just hit select and you can see how many kills, how many deaths, how many headshots, accuracy. I got to work on my accuracy here. I was a stats guy back in the day, and here's what I want to show you guys about how crazy these stats were back in the day. How many wins I had, how many losses I had, my ratio, my best streak. I had a 30 win streak at one point. That's never happening again in any Call of Duty ever again because of skill-based matchmaking. Just a whole bunch of stuff, man. Most flag picks up. You can compare it with a friend if you want to. I'll compare it with Chicken Uncle. And look at this. You could send this to a buddy. You go, hey, buddy, my best kill is 85. Yours is 32. Get good at the game, little bro. And this stuff, man, it's just special. The little details are what really elevated the multiplayer experience. Treyarch didn't have to add a Nemesis feature in the after game report. They didn't have to add a heat map for the player locations. They didn't have to add in detailed stats and leaderboards for you to analyze your gameplay. But they did. This wasn't an expansion. Black Ops 1 was a new game, new models, and a new engine, and the fact that all these other quality of life things were included made a difference. It felt like the player's experience mattered. You could personalize your emblem, create your own player card, and even customize your red dot sight. These small touches allowed us to express ourselves in ways no other COD game had allowed before. It felt like you were bringing a piece of yourself into every match, and that connection made every kill, every death, and every victory feel personal. Yes!
Good job, team. We executed the mission perfectly.
I mean, come on, guys. It made you feel like you could control your experience. And I feel like that's a strong indicator that you've got a successful multiplayer mode. And you have to remember, Black Ops 1's approach was kind of a gamble. They could have tried to imitate the Modern Warfare games when all trends pointed in that direction, but they didn't. And it felt good. It felt like Treyarch had taken a risk, and maybe it had just paid off. Now that's good. And then you remember that multiplayer was only the beginning.
Woods, you look like having
So for son. It's not, baby.
It's good to see you.
Hey, it's
We can't give up now. He was at Borkula. He knows how to translate the code.
Double the voltage.
I remember!
Let's talk about the campaign. For those of you familiar with the franchise, Call of Duty campaigns are often an afterthought. There's normally a bad guy with a big weapon, and it's your job to stop them with your arsenal of weapons. It's a fairly one-dimensional experience, and you'll probably play it for an hour and then you'll never think about it again. So imagine our surprise when we got this. Oh no. Oh no.
I have plans for you.
Hey, we're going guns blazing here, boys.
Steiner was there! We had to kill Steiner! Keep hearing the numbers!
Oh no. Oh, wait, what the heck?
The subject has been successfully implanted with the knowledge to translate the numbers.
So what is the problem?
For many of us, the story of Alex Mason, Sergeant Frank Woods, and Jason Hudson wasn't just a narrative, it was an experience. Set during the Cold War era, the campaign took us on a journey through a gripping tale of espionage, mind control, and betrayal. It was intense, mysterious, and full of twists and turns. If you didn't get the opportunity to experience it, well, you play as Alex Mason, the man in the chair. You start the story by being interrogated by two unknown figures, both urgently asking you about the numbers. There's signs of frustration and impatience in their voices.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Where's the broadcast station?
Don't know what you're talking about.
The numbers, Mason. What do they mean? Where are they
I
broadcast
don't know
from?
anything about any numbers.
What about Dragovich? Do you remember him? Give us what we want, we'll guarantee your safety.
And as a player, you're immediately thrust into what seems like a very high-pressure situation. Alex Mason then proceeds to relive the events leading up to his capture. Jumping back to the Vietnam War, you're introduced to Frank Woods, a grizzled soldier. Your handler, Jason Hudson, and you're reunited with an old friend, Victor Reznov. Oh man, I love this guy.
You hit like a giant!
You then begin to fight and sneak your way through pivotal moments of the Cold War, like the Bay of Pigs invasion, as a covert operative in a deniable operation.
Deniable operations.
Deniable ops. Deniable, you know? CIA, deniable ops.
Deep behind enemy lines. Into the world of deniable operations.
But this didn't feel like a mindless slog. It was deeper, more psychological. As the story progresses, you shift your point of view to characters like Hudson and experience events unfolding through different lenses.
Damn, it's bulletproof. Mason,
Look at that,
what
man.
What are you doing? We need him alive. Stand down. Stand down.
My name is Victor Reznov, and I will have my revenge.
We weren't just playing through missions, we were unraveling a mystery. Few COD campaigns since have managed to capture this level of intensity, and it's one of the reasons why Black Ops 1 still stands out. The campaign didn't just excel in storytelling, it also innovated in terms of gameplay, with branching paths, alternate endings, and moral choices. Black Ops 1 gave us a sense of control that wasn't common in shooters back then, especially in Call of Duty. Dude, the iconic characters in this: Dragovich, Steiner.
Oh my God!
Dude, this is so... I've played this campaign so many times, and this mission still hits me in a way that I just have no idea how to react. Oswald. Oh, man. We weren't just players, we were decision makers. And that made the story feel more personal. Without spoiling the ending, the preceding events build and accumulate to a climactic conclusion, where as you as a player begin to finally understand what's really happening, how you got in the chair, and what the numbers really mean. This is what you don't see anymore out of COD campaigns.
Reznov, where are you?
You know how I said it was one of the greatest main menus and one of the greatest Call of Duties? It's one of the greatest campaigns in gaming history as well. Don't just classify it in Call of Duty. It's more. And what? Oh my gosh, JFK, the twist, the tie-in with this.
The best we have.
And there goes all the roof's gone. This twist. This makes me so happy. Were there better single-player games at the time? Of course. I'm not saying it was a revolutionary experience, but Call of Duty isn't a story-first kind of franchise. The focus has always been on multiplayer. So the effort put into crafting this narrative went above and beyond what was expected. It's why to this day, players still know about the numbers and why characters like Frank Woods have become icons. And imagine finally getting through this story and finding out there's more. Of course, we can't talk about Black Ops 1 without mentioning the game mode that defined a generation: zombies. This is where Treyarch took the foundation laid in World at War and turned it into something truly special. If you didn't know, the last Treyarch Call of Duty, World at War, introduced a zombies mode. After beating the campaign, you unlocked a new menu option to spawn in and fight endless hordes of zombies. It became so popular that players would go out and buy a copy of World at War just to play this mode. Treyarch took that success and created a universe from it. You had to beat the campaign to unlock this bonus mode. Eventually, it got so popular that people were then begging the devs to make it a regular mode, and they did. Well, Black Ops 1 was no different. When you beat the campaign, this is what happened.
For time and the world do not stand still. Change.
This was such a good cutscene. Everybody's together, everybody's having fun, they're friends. It's not a storm, boys.
Gentlemen, at times like these, our capacity to retaliate must be and has to be massive to deter all forms of aggression.
Bring the big guns out, boys. Black Ops 1 not only expanded upon the features that worked well in the last iteration, but took it to another level with new special weapons, new perks, and new maps. Yes, more than one map for a side mode. Maps like Kino, Ascension, Call of the Dead, or just levels. They were stories filled with secrets and Easter eggs waiting to be discovered. I don't know what it is about this map, but it is the map that I have the most memories with in zombies. This, it just hit. And see what I'm saying with the breaking down? Like, look at this. You see that, you're like, holy crap, we gotta go, guys. And that's what these newer zombies don't really have. They don't have that like desperation to go find something. Now we're just kind of chilling. The cooperative experience brought friends together in a way no other game mode could. You weren't just fighting waves of the undead, you were embarking on an adventure. Depending on the map, you started out either as an American, Russian, German, or Japanese soldier, half Axis or half allies. A unique combination of personalities for a squad stuck fighting endless hordes of zombies. Or you could spawn in as President Kennedy, President Nixon, Robert McNamara, and Fidel Castro. Can you imagine finishing the campaign and finding out you can run around with Richard Nixon carrying a shotgun? I mean, I don't know if that gets any better than that. And this is what we're talking about with atmosphere in the game, guys. As you can see, the atmosphere is very like, it's just good.
Pain is temporary. Pride is
we're
forever.
JFK too. You know what I mean? It's right in the middle of the, what do you call this? The Pentagon or wherever we're at? Pentagon, right? Yeah. I was making sure I was right on that. I had to make sure I get my history right. But just the fact that you can see the atmosphere where people would be doing all this stuff. I mean, this is, I think, what people were missing from sometimes the newer zombies, where you're just like, wow, this has got its own theme. Multiplayer has its theme, campaign has its theme, and zombies has its theme. You know, every game was different and challenging. And if you wanted to, you could get more involved with the lore. Or if you're like me, you could just mindlessly decapitate zombies. Now we can circle. A lot of the times, developing modes like a zombies mode take away from the core gameplay. But because the multiplayer and campaign were so fleshed out, zombies became a reward. You could cycle between the three and never get tired of the Black Ops 1 universe. Treyarch didn't have to do this. They could have left zombies out entirely to avoid the headache of developing a separate entity. Or they could have just done the bare minimum and kept it simple like World at War. But they didn't. It was this mentality that made Black Ops 1 different. They went left when the safer path was right. And did I mention Dead Ops? Yeah, not only was there zombies, but there was a whole new side mode called Dead Ops. This was a top-down twin stick shooter that you could only unlock through escaping the main menu chair and typing in a secret code into the console. I mean, how cool is that? Imagine being a kid discovering a whole new secret mission to play with your friends after school. And I haven't even gotten a chance to go over the other quality of life features that made Black Ops 1 feel complete. Black Ops 1 was the first Call of Duty to introduce theater mode. After a multiplayer game, you could hop into theater mode and relive the highlights of that game from any player's perspective or through a free-floating camera. This ushered a new wave of Call of Duty cinematics and enabled players to share clips with their friends, all the while staying in the game. But what truly made Black Ops 1 special was the community. It was a time before skill-based matchmaking took over and the microtransactions were the norm. People created content and videos because they loved playing Call of Duty. And players hopped on to play the game because they wanted to compete with their friends. Oh, and did I mention that you could do split screen online? If your friend didn't have great internet, you could invite them over to play online with you. Split screen at the same time. They could earn their own levels, create their own classes, and unlock stuff separately of your account. I mean, how cool is that? So, why doesn't Black Ops 1 get the recognition it deserves? Not only did it tackle every challenge in front of it, it did it in a way that felt, well, I mean, it felt cool. Every piece included was fully fleshed out and enjoyable. Players could get invested and be rewarded for it. And to this day, it is still the most sold Call of Duty game of all time. So again, why does it feel forgotten? Maybe because its younger brother, Black Ops 2, overshadowed it. Or maybe it's because nostalgia tends to be selective. We could all probably come up with a few theories as to why. But for those who experienced it firsthand, Black Ops 1 just wasn't a game. It was an experience. A perfect blend of storytelling, gameplay, and community. Black Ops 1 was a game that dared to be different, and it was a game that cared. Black Ops 1 was a masterpiece that set the standard for what a Call of Duty game could be. Thanks for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you in the next one.